Good evening, everyone.
Hey-o.
Welcome to the Funbox Monster Podcast. My name is Tristan.
I am Matt Awkward.
Good evening. We've had a couple of false starts here. Again, probably due to the mind-melting nature of tonight's film.
We're insane right now.
An Appointment with Fear.
It made us crazy.
This movie definitely made me crazy. I felt like the government was sticking probes into my mind, like MK Ultra had fed me big doses of LSD, and this movie makes no sense.
No, I felt like I was losing my mind, and like I couldn't pay attention because I was watching something and I'd be like, wait a minute, wasn't she just driving the car?
Whose car is this? What is this?
What is going? Where are we? What?
This movie deserves credit. If you are a bad movie person, if you're somebody who like goes out of your way to find The Room or find Troll 2 or anything like that. I am. This movie, it is shocking that this isn't talked about in the same breath as Troll 2.
I agree. And
this is even more confusing than any of those movies. It goes out on as many limbs. It has absolutely bonker-doos characters and choices. Some that almost feel like they should have been in a comedy, but they are not played for comedy. They do not make sense. It's beautiful.
And like you said, though, we are here to spread the word of this movie and
yes.
get this the recognition it deserves, because
it deserves a Blu-ray release.
It is out there. It is. There is no foo-foo Blu-ray release for this. I would buy that in a heartbeat, because especially if they had commentaries, like, I want to know what the hell happened here, because this is not a normal movie by any means, and it's sad because this has never even been released on DVD in the States. Like, came out on VHS, was largely ignored, and it's just vanished into the ether of time.
Dum-dums like us talking on podcasts engage in a lot of hyperbole about things like this, saying this is the weirdest fill-in-the-blank I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is definitely in the top 5 weirdest movies I have ever seen.
Agreed.
Ever.
Yeah.
It is
hands down
so bizarre.
But it is surprisingly watchable. I enjoy watching this movie. It is so broken, and there are things that make so no sense, but like never am I bored by it, I should say. It never bores me.
Okay, I don't mean to peer into your brain and, pull
here.
apart your psyche here, but I'm going to guess that it's all the boobs.
There's barely any, though. There's one girl.
That, too.
No, they kind of fail on that, on Voorhees there.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Either way.
That's another inexplicable thing. They had Deborah Voorhees come and do a skinny dipping scene, but she refused to do nudity. So it's just like, what are you doing?
Did I imagine nudity?
There's side boob.
I must have.
There's side boob, yeah, but like, they set it up for like a softcore swim scene, and she was like, no, I don't want to do nudity in this, despite the fact that she just did all the nudity in Friday the 13th.
I mean, probably that's why she didn't want to do it.
Probably didn't want to do it. She's like, that sucked the last time.
Yeah.
But like, why are you even doing a skinny dipping scene with somebody that's refusing to do nudity? Like,
exactly. Do
and
something
it
else.
Doesn't even make sense to the like that whole scene could have.
I mean, I think
who is she?
As we have again, there's that problem. But I mean, as we've seen in the past, there's a tendency to be like, oh yeah, there's no nudity, we won't do anything. The creepo fucking like directors like, but
hey, there was a script change this morning. There's now a skinny dipping scene.
Yeah, of course we're not going to show it, but it's really like getting in the way of our process to have you have a shirt on. So like, can you fix that?
It's just not working with the lighting.
It's like reflecting off the mores or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, now my pants are chafing.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, let's talk about this. I do apologize if this is fractured, because it is like one of the most fractured films I've ever seen in my life.
And I do not apologize.
Okay. But I do, even if this summary doesn't really do it justice to make you want to see it, go see it. It's free on YouTube. Hit it up.
Yeah.
Hit it up.
There's no excuse not to watch this shit.
Exactly. And of course, it's directed by our favorite director, one Alan Smithy.
Yeah,
very excited to see him.
He's done a lot of cool things. Hey, he did that
work.
movie Student Bodies. That's some funny shit.
I did see Student Bodies. Anyway, so we get this thing. The movie starts off, and we're introduced to what is his name? I want to call him Kolchak.
Kowalski.
To Kowalski, who's our are
not the Kowalski from Vanishing Point.
No, he's a down on his luck Columbo-esque cop who's just a total mess, and he's just totally disheveled. He's got a hat that looks like he pulled it out of a dumpster. He looks more like a hobo from a 30s movie than he looks like a cop. And
he's an old-fashioned man living in a modern world.
Sure, but like he's done a bunch of stuff that has like sent him down the rungs of the police force.
He got too involved.
I mean, except for the fact that he's like caught this really important serial killer, and that was like the last thing that he did, and like I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. It's a bad movie, but he sits in his car and he has this thing. He has a character tick.
I love it. It's comedy gold.
So instead of doing something that like a human being would do that would like make sense that you could relate to a comedic moment, his tick is that he just always throws his cigarette onto the seat of his car. Oh, and it's going to pay off later.
It actually does have a great payoff.
But
I love the payoff for this bit.
Sure, but again, it only works as a payoff if a human being would ever do this ever in any situation. But he literally just when he finishes smoking a cigarette, he'll be like 10 feet away from his car. He'll walk up to his car and throw it on the seat.
And then 2 minutes later, he'll be like, "Oh shit! Oh!" And it always surprises him.
It always shocks him that his car is on fire when he throws.
I love this movie. I'm fucking crying right now. I'm literally crying.
There it is. And so you're like, okay, well that's a weird little tick that he's got. So he goes over. He walks past the station wagon and puts a tracking device in the wheel well. Real smooth like.
Yeah.
And we see across the street there's a creepy guy petting a cat in a van.
Yeah.
Okay, from what we know later, this is the astral projection of a killer driving this van. This cat...
Is the cat an astral projection? Is the cat... Is the van an astral projection?
We don't know if he...
They even bring up the question if the van is real or fantasy.
So... We don't know.
We don't know.
We find out later that he is the king of the forest.
Yeah.
This movie
he's got to kill his baby or he won't be, though, right?
Yes. This movie is already breaking me, and we're like minutes into it, and I'm already incapable of holding it back.
So
okay.
We don't know he's an astral projection yet, but
we don't. But later on, it's important to know because he's petting a fucking cat, and this cat never comes back, and it has no purpose.
Nope. Enjoy the cat now on its 7 seconds of screen time because you'll never see
cat.
You know what I mean? I'm so glad the cat just disappeared and we don't get a cat death. So many horror movies are just like, hey, here's a cat. I'm gonna kill it for you. But nobody wants that.
Nobody wants it.
And this movie's like, yeah, you don't want that. Here's a cute cat. Enjoy.
There you go.
All right, moving on.
And then we see this like this woman who looks kind of like a female Lou Diamond Phillips, like a hot Lou Diamond Phillips lady, and she leaves her house holding a baby. She gets into a car, the car that he put the tracer on.
Is that a pickup line? Hey, baby, you look like a hot Lou Diamond Phillips.
I've used it many times, but only on Lou Diamond Phillips. It's never worked. Because that
Lou has standards.
That implies that Lou was not hot the rest of the time, which is absolutely a lie. Yeah. Everybody knows that Lou is always hot, even to this very day. He's got to be in his 60s.
Yeah,
the dude is fucking.
He's America's favorite Mexican
from the Philippines. Yes, exactly.
That one's from my buddy Gabe.
It's so weird. The 90s were such a fucking lawless time for casting people outside their ethnic groups. Anyway, okay, so, she gets into this car. She has a baby. Cigarette guy drops the cigarette in his car because that's what he does.
Whoops.
He nearly sets his car on fire, but he puts it out with a cup of coffee. Oh my God, okay. And we find out, okay, so there's this classic 80s trope of the bag lady, the like New York woman pushing a shopping cart. And she's in the middle of this LA freeway or something, and he almost murders her.
Yep.
Like he's straight up. Like,
oh yeah.
Like he does
doing
not
a high-speed chase.
Yes.
He's got to catch his boogeyman.
He's got to catch this astral projecting boogeyman.
He's like Loomis determined.
Oh, he is absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got a Loomis thing going, and so he's seen hitting this poor woman with his car by a cop. The cop pulls him over, and in typical Columbo fashion, they will refuse to believe that he's a cop because he looks so shitty. They're like, oh, you're so disheveled that there's no way in hell you're a real police officer. He pats him down. The thing is, the guy knows him even. As it turns out later. We find out later that the guy knows Kowalski, so
really?
it's even stranger. But okay, he doesn't believe that he's a sergeant. He frisks him, has to apologize to him, and then the sergeant calls him a dork. Which is why. So good. Okay, so we all these scenes don't fit together at all.
Nothing does.
So we cut
That's the beauty of it.
We cut to a birthday party.
It's a birthday party? It's a new age dance birthday party for an octogenarian.
Yep, they are. This is the entertainment.
Face paint, bongos, worshiping the sun, noodle dancing,
she's
for an
80-year-old's
80-year-old's birthday.
Get out of a jar.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's doing
Happy birthday, Grandpa. I'm a mime.
And she's got face paint so that she looks exactly like Commander USA.
Yeah. Oh, she also looks like I guess Blade Runner vibes.
Sure. She's got she basically has blue eye makeup.
Dude, she
right
must
across
go
her.
through like a thing of eyeshadow per application.
Yeah, she is
must
like
get expensive.
She's like 1/4 of a Blue Man Group face worth of blue makeup on her face.
And she just does this up when there's like nothing even going on. Like
she's
at that house later on, and she's just like, "Oh, I better put on 8 pounds of makeup right now to hold this baby in this room upstairs by myself."
I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, and no one will believe me when I say it, but was she doing this to prepare for the dance troupe to show up while they were waiting for the serial killer?
Was that dance troupe even really
Were they real?
There? Did he astral project himself up a dance troupe?
Everyone saw it.
Does that statement even make sense? Yeah, everybody saw it. Yeah, but they saw him too. Oh. So why wouldn't it be fake? Like they disappeared. They vanished after the dude blew up into a pile of leaves, which is a very rational.
That is a thing that happened in this movie too. Well, he is the king of the forest, so of course he's made of leaves.
Oh, that totally makes sense then.
Yeah, of course.
We're ridiculing this for nothing.
No, for nothing. This movie is gold. Okay, so birthday party. There's a woman sitting across the. Okay. You summed it up best when you said that maybe the director thought he was making a Wes Anderson movie.
Before Wes Anderson.
Before Wes Anderson.
This is Wes Anderson before Wes Anderson.
But the character trait of the character quirk, let's say,
of Carol,
our main character is that she has a parabolic microphone, which is essentially one of those big
shotgun mics on a big satellite dish.
It's got a big satellite dish.
She can hear things from far away.
And she can hear things from far away, and she records them onto a boombox. And this is a thing that she does as her weird art project, like hobby.
She's always doing it, but the even more Wes Anderson-y part is she also drives a pickup truck, and she has a friend who is a homeless.
She has a homeless man sleeping in the back, and the explanation that she gives is he's got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is like the same explanation as like, hey, I noticed you have a raccoon living in your abdominal cavity. He's got to live somewhere. You know, and it makes about as much sense.
Yeah. But she just bosses this nice homeless man around. Like,
yep. Well, I mean, he's not homeless. He lives in her truck.
Oh yes, he's not unhoused. He's trucked.
He's literally he's a truck man.
Yes,
he's a truck bed man. is what he is. So okay,
it's such a sick Mazda pickup truck.
It is a really cool pickup. It's a bright red Mazda pickup.
It's back when trucks didn't need to be
an inch off the ground. Absolute inch off the ground. So
you can't buy small trucks anymore.
You can't.
Damn shame.
Those. Oh man, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The 80s were great for those. Anyway, okay, so everything here is so ADR'd. Like there's weird and there's like layers of ADR. Like they've recorded it in one studio and there's one layer of ADR where you can see everything's dubbed for this first chunk of movie. Everything's dubbed. Then there are moments where they ADR and it's literally different actors playing the voices of the people they're supposed to be playing. Because the woman who is the woman who's about to get stabbed has two different voices at two different times.
I did not notice
when her back is turned, they overdub her with someone else's female voice.
Do you think it's just complete ineptitude in the direction department where like they just missed shots, they missed things they needed, they missed everything?
Absolutely.
Like, yep.
Absolutely.
Because this is a Smithy picture, and I'm not sure exactly what happened again. Like I said, there's not a lot of info on this movie you can find out there. It's just kind of like
it's
a thing that happened, and nobody talks about it anymore. And so that's why I would love to see a nice Blu-ray with commentary and some kind of info, but like
don't know how this movie has escaped national attention for being as just bonker-doos as it is.
It could be the subject of a documentary, though. The best worst movie too.
Yeah. I would watch the hell out of that.
Same.
Oh my god. Okay, so here we go. Poorly ADR'd line where an old woman tells her husband to shut up and watch the girl. We pan over. We see a woman surrounded by balloons. She's doing performance art. She's pretending to get out of a jar. And then we cut back to the parabolic mic woman. We find out that she's just a peeping Tom, essentially, with audio.
Essentially, yeah.
A woman the woman with the baby that has been being followed by the cop from earlier approaches a house and tucks this baby into a shrub 2 feet from her.
Yeah.
Like, the shrub is right next to the stairs. Then she sits down on the stairs. The creepy cat guy from the van comes out, and in the worst acted ADR I've literally ever heard in my life. This is the worst acting I've ever heard in my life.
No, you won't take my baby.
And they use the audio twice because they actually play back the recording. No, the baby needs to stay alive. You will not take the baby.
It legit sounds like that.
So, wow. Wowie, wow. Wow.
It's like, can we have a second take?
No. And it's ADR. It's not even it's on film. It's
exactly.
Like they were in the booth. You knew this was going to be bad.
I'm tired.
So it's fine. Okay. Parabolic mic lady has switched over to this scenario where she's now listening to...
She's hearing the baby thing.
This baby conversation. And she's just sitting there on the porch like absolutely nothing's wrong, and gets stabbed, makes no face. She gets stabbed in the side.
The creep guy just comes over, sits next to her, and just goes, boop.
And she's like, yep, that's going to happen.
I got stabbed.
I sure did.
God,
and he walks away, and she continues to sit there, doesn't make a noise.
Doesn't move. Doesn't call for help.
She looks like she's waiting for them to start filming.
Yes.
Is what she looks like. I don't think she knows that the camera's on.
She's wondering when Carol, the actress, is going to show up.
Exactly. And so she just sits there, and then the woman who is listening, she knows that this murder just took place, right? She has to.
I guess she heard it.
But I guess she didn't care.
She heard the silent stab.
I guess since she didn't scream, she didn't pick anything up. But the performance artist across the street, she saw what went down, and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? They can't take my baby. You need to save my baby. Here is my baby. It was right next to me the whole time. And hands the baby to her. And
how in the world did this dude who is after the baby,
and he's magic,
not see the baby around
It's worse.
He never even asked where the baby was. Like, where is it? Like,
no.
She probably would have been like, oh, there.
Over there. It's right there. Okay, but my favorite part of this is that, so this new woman comes over. This was my, I think once we got through the movie, I understood that this was not a psychic phenomenon. But when I watched the movie, when I first saw this scene, I assumed that the performance art woman was psychic because they overdub her and her mouth doesn't move. She's like, oh, hi, can I help you or whatever? And her mouth is completely not moving at all. So I thought she was talking to her with her mind because there's all this psychic shit going on.
And you're like, no, it's just broken.
Nope, just bad filmmaking. And that was what happened. So she was like, is there anything I can do to help you? And she gets the baby, and I guess the woman dies from the stab to the side.
Sure.
We think it's completely bloodless until later on when we find out that there's a tiny bit of blood. So
She breathes very, very slowly.
She does. She doesn't drink enough water. So performance art lady inherits a baby now. So she's now got a baby.
Neat.
Gonna take that to the police?
No.
Nope.
I'm gonna take it home and keep it like I fucking found a stray puppy dog.
Okay. Well, I hope you're gonna go get some food for that baby.
Nope.
Some diapers?
No.
Would you like to do anything?
No, I'm gonna sit here and look at this creepy ass painting by myself.
Okay. Cool. So you're just not gonna feed that baby for 48
Fuck
full
that.
hours?
I'm gonna
Okay,
bring it
cool.
to a party.
Cool. Bring the baby to the party. All right.
My friend said I could keep it.
That's right. Later on, she's like, "Can we keep
this?" It's too good. It's too good.
Okay. The woman with the baby. She gets into her friend's truck, and I'm like reading my notes verbatim because I'm seriously gonna fuck this up. Okay. She's immediately followed by the creepy cat guy. I call him the creepy cat guy because we saw him with a cat. He'll never have a cat again.
I don't even know his name.
Nobody does. Her friend says, "You see that van try to run over that old man? Yeah. He's right behind us." And she is so chipper and so cheerful. She's like, "Did you see that happen? Yeah. Oh, well, he's right behind us." So the two of them, she gets picked up by this woman in her truck. And she's got the baby. And she's like, so now the parabolic mic lady and
the girl with the baby are together,
and the girl with the baby are now together.
Okay, this is important because I've got questions regarding this later on.
Absolutely.
They bungle everything again.
So they're together, and they drive off, and she's like, "You know that van where the guy killed a person, and they're looking for the baby, and we saw him try to run somebody over? Yeah, I remember that. That was funny." "Okay, yeah, well, he's right behind us." "Oh, haha, well, he'll never catch me." Cut to them pulling up to the house.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. They just like scene missing where you do not see them.
I wonder if they tried to do a car chase or fucked it up. Like they were just like, "Oh crap, this is awful. This doesn't work."
There's no way it
cut to Heather's house. Boop.
It couldn't possibly look worse than anything else in this movie. There's no way. But
they do a lot of road scenes too. You'd think they would get it right.
They cut
because the motorcycle chase later on is decent
until they get to the. We'll get to it. Well, they're trying to do the thing where the train cuts them off, but then they can't shoot it right and they don't know how to edit it. So instead, they just have him stop there for no reason, and then the wigwag falls down and it cuts his truck in half. The little wooden beam totals his truck.
No, it was a car.
Or yeah, totals his car.
It made the hood pop up and the engine explode, I guess.
Don't worry, it'll explode again later. Okay,
yes,
so
it will.
Everyone's all smiles about this whole thing. They've eluded this murderer. And then they pull up and they're like, "Okay, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Have fun with your stolen baby. Okay, cool."
The baby I'm going to forget about later on.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Where is that baby?
Yeah.
We don't know.
No. I mean, we'll get to it.
Oh, there's two moments. But I mean, when she's hanging out with her parents, there's no baby there. And then she has it in her arms next scene. But whatever. Okay, so they say their goodbyes like nothing happened. Everyone's smiley. Van drives by. The van sees her going into this house. She sees the van. She knows the van is looking for the baby and has murdered people. She's like, "Huh, look, a van." Goes in the house. Everything's fine.
Yep.
The van doesn't stop. Nothing. None of this.
He's got to get back to the hospital with that thing, I guess.
So he's got to return the van to the motor pool
at
the
astral projectile car rental's place.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Cut to the police in front of the murder scene. Kowalski's being berated for being a slob, and he's not on this case. Plus, he's on thin ice. He's probably a loose cannon. He's probably going to have to turn in his badge and gun. All that stuff. The things that you say to, loose cannon cops. Okay, the police know about the missing baby. That's the only important.
And we also though learn that Kowalski is hunting this killer that he apparently already put away and is in the insane asylum.
Correct. And now we get yet another scene that's just so amazing. We see the porch, and then the music gives us a sting when we see the blood of the woman we already knew was dead.
Yes.
It's It's like,
shocker.
Guys, you already told us she was dead. Why are you trying to tell me that there's a surprise that there's blood there? We saw her get stabbed.
The surprise is we found the blood.
Oh, there it is. The surprise is that we could afford that much fake blood, which is like a shot glass full of it, is how much there was on the
My cousin Barry said he knew how to make it, and he was right.
He was right. Buy strawberry quick. Carol, the lady with the giant listening device, that's Carol, right?
Yes.
Okay. She stops by a local house to spy on two people playing strip poker.
It's her friend. I forgot her name.
Naked cowboy and naked lady cowboy.
The cowboy's name is Cowboy.
Sure it is. Of course it is.
It is.
Of course it is. Okay, so...
I just forgot his girlfriend's name.
And she gets stopped by a creepy old guy named Norman and is told not to go to the... Don't go to the...
Norman's her truck bum.
Well, yes, we don't know that yet.
Oh, gotcha.
We don't know that...
I knew it.
You've seen the movie already. Yes, the truck bum says, hey, don't go to the party, because it turns out that Norman is an avatar of God.
Yes, and if you recognize Norman, he was in the Dark Backward for a couple seconds, introducing Marty Malt in the beginning and the end.
Yep.
Great movie, that Dark Backward.
It is. So he doesn't know why he knows to tell her that.
Yeah, he says, don't go to the party. Why? I don't know. I just know to tell you that.
Yep, exactly. And then he goes back to sleep in the back of the truck.
She orders him to.
She's like, go back to sleep. She
just like cuts him off. She's like, Norman, are you tired? He's like, yes, ma'am. Go to sleep. Yes, ma'am. Then he just crawls into the back of her truck and lays down and goes to sleep.
One punch up for this movie.
Yeah.
Norman is a Muppet. That's my one punch up for this movie.
It would not seem that out of place with everything else going on in this thing.
It's literally because his role is
and
literally
he's in a truck bed, so he could just pop up like a yeah.
He is being treated as though he is a puppet that is being operated because he's always in a truck bed.
Yep.
And he only shows up to be like, he's like, it's all right in the box. Yeah, it's all right. Like, he's like that. It's like just sort of like a fucking puppet that talks to her occasionally. It's like, okay, all right, go back. Like in the Hollisters when Odorous Urungus lived in the closet. It's that kind of thing. It's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Anyway, okay. So, we get boobs for a second.
Yeah, we get our non-nudity. This is where the car switches too. She drives off in her red truck.
Well, no, we get the cowboy lady's girlfriend's boobs for a minute.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We get actual
poker. I'm jumping forward. Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
So we get that, so she stops listening to them because she senses something on the street. She has a moment where she's just like, she like a cat. Like she's like, what the fuck's going on? And then she gets all suspicious and then drives away with the hobo in the back of the car. The van makes another drive past the house.
Neat.
Why? Don't know. And okay, so we see the performance artist again. She's in her house with no baby at this point, and we realize that this is just like the makeup that she wears on a daily basis. Like you assume that was for a performance.
No, she's holding the baby. Are you talking about the scene where she's with the creepy painting?
Doesn't it like literally appear in the next scene? Isn't she like without it the first scene?
No, I think
it cuts to the. I think it cuts to the painting and then it cuts back. And
she has it. They forgot it at first.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
so. Because she definitely does have it. It's in that red swaddle cloth.
Yep.
But it doesn't move at all. It's
right, because they can't afford to keep a baby.
It's apparently not a baby at all. She's just holding a bundle of blankets like a baby, and her mom never once questions, "Hey, why are you holding a baby?" Or why are you holding that weird red blanket?
Yeah, no.
Or why are you holding a baby?
Yeah, they're mostly mad about the painting.
Yeah, really her stepfather doesn't like it. I guess it's her stepfather. I don't know. Here's another thing.
It's an impressive painting.
Oh, it's awesome, dude.
It's really good.
But yeah, this is just a weird broken dialogue, like everything in this movie. But it's just like
this is a plot line that's supposed to set something up that never factors into anything. Where she's like, she starts having psychic flashes of her dead. We find out that she has a dead brother.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Where'd you get that?
They say it.
What the fuck? I was paying really hard attention to see if I noticed. Like,
there's a moment.
It's like
at the house.
Yeah.
At the house later, right before the party, her friend says, Oh, he's so cute. He really reminds me of your brother. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
I missed that.
That's
because they do that thing like
Yeah.
American Gothic does, where the girl let the baby drown in the bathtub on accident. You know what I mean? They're cutting to, so it makes you think something like that. Like, so I guess that's what happened. I guess.
But we don't get a baby that's drowned in a tub. We get a baby in a tub, and we see a duck fall on the floor.
Yeah, but it's
So
like,
I don't know what it is.
It's like the movie is just like put it together. Kid drowned in the tub when she was on the phone. It's like, I mean, I guess we could figure that out, but like,
I mean, in American Gothic, I figured that out, but I didn't figure that out in this.
no. You won't figure out unless you're supposed to figure it out.
Yeah, because
The movie is just like figure it out.
But it doesn't. It literally does not.
No, I only figured it out because I've seen movies before.
Right. That's it. So, okay. She painted the baby crying, and she's having the psychic flashes. Blah blah blah. This is Carol. She starts creeping around a library with like Looney Tunes sneaking music behind her.
What is this?
It's just an excuse to have her meet up with the brunette, with Pamela Voorhees.
Yes, who is apparently going to. So nothing happens in the scene at all. They just talk about going to this party.
Absolutely nothing happens here.
Like,
she talks about being
me.
like,
oh, I'm gonna fall to the ground, and then when she rises back up, I love this. Did you notice this when she? You know when she gets scared, then she gets relieved when she notices just her friend, then she like falls down. She like sinks down against the wall. Then she just starts standing back up, but near the end of the stand up, it does a cut. Like
no,
to it, it just doesn't. Yeah, so it's like obviously they screwed up the take when she got rose up, and they just started again with her already standing and just butted it together. It looks so sloppy.
Oh, you can see the reset. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, great.
And so this whole scene goes nowhere. But then after this, what's her nuts? Pamela Voorhees arrives at the house they're going to in Carol's truck.
Yes.
And we never discuss like why.
No.
So when you're watching a movie,
I think they forgot.
When you're watching a movie, you know what the characters drive. You know what I mean? Especially if they have a very identifiable car. You have a small Mazda red pickup truck with decals on the side with a hobo living in the back of it. Like, this isn't just like, you know, a Ford Escort that everybody's got 500 of. Like, so when you see this pull up to the house and all of a sudden not Carol gets out when we've seen Carol be driving it the whole movie, you're like, what?
Yeah.
And this movie just doesn't care. Carol's driving a black car later on. Who cares?
I mean, yeah. So this scene in the library, basically she comes in and she's like all freaked out. She's like sneaking around. She thinks there's someone trying to kill her. And then the second she sees her friend, she's like, her friend's like, oh, what are you so worried about? She's like, I'm being followed by a guy in a white van. And she's like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm worried about college. Oh, tell me more about college. Someone's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Stop asking
I'm just really
college.
afraid of looking for a job.
You know what? You and I are just alike. You're worried about being murdered, and I'm thinking about my future. God damn, read the room, lady. Okay, cut to mental hospital facility number 3.
There's a lot of
Yeah, there's a lot of them around here.
Yeah.
Chin butt van guy is laid out on a slab like he's dead, but he's actually in a coma. Oh my goodness. Our sloppy cop Kowalski is pacing around him in a complete circle when the Fresh Prince's dad shows up.
This blew my mind because I've watched this like 3 times. I love the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I never realized that this was James
crazy.
Avery because he looks and he sounds even so different.
That's
like
the Shredder in person.
even when I pause it and I like look at it, I'm just like, that doesn't look like him, but it is totally Uncle Phil.
No, it doesn't. It looks more like there was a weather guy on CBS in the 80s or 90s. It looks more like him than it looks like Uncle Phil. It's weird. It's very strange. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, there was a weather guy on ABC. Remember that guy?
Oh shit. I almost could pull his name. I think his first name was David. But I cannot remember it now. I met him at a concert.
Oh, this is
it's
why
the only reason I can think of it.
Okay.
Because like he was literally standing someplace and I was like, hey, aren't you the weather guy from CBS? And he's like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
We wound up talking about Portland baseball for some reason.
I'm a human. I like human things.
So I was like, that's weird. What are you doing at this shitty Candlebox concert?
What were you doing at the shitty Candlebox?
It was Woodstock.
Yeah.
I was at Woodstock and Candlebox was playing.
Wow.
So, of course, I was facing the other direction, walking away from the stage.
Sure.
I mean, rocking out to the sweet fucking jams. Okay, I thought that first Candlebox album was okay.
You heard it here, people.
I know, it wasn't good. It's embarrassing now to think about it. But I was not into the show. I did get to see Rollins Band, though. That was fun.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, okay. So Fresh Prince's dad comes in and he tells the cop that this guy's been in a coma since last night. And Kowalski says, "That's not possible. He tried to kill me this morning." Dun, dun, dun.
How did this guy get into this coma? Like, Kowalski busted him, but, like, he doesn't have a bruise or a cut or, like, nothing at all on his body, like, to indicate that.
I would normally try to punch things up and be like, oh, it should have been the story where he shot him and now he's got a hole in his brain and it caused it like an X-Files thing where it's like it unlocked his psychic potential and blah, blah, blah. But this movie, no. This is exactly how this should have gone down.
That's another complaint I had, too, because this is fairly recently after he busted him, I think. I'm get the feeling of in this movie. It's not like, I busted this big killer years ago. This is recent. So he's got not a mark on him, like, whatsoever. Not a bandage, not anything to be in a coma. And then when he finally does...
It's a magic coma.
And when he's walking around at the end stalking people, like, they just picked a very boring-looking dude to be a killer.
Yeah.
Like you said, why wouldn't he be shot or have like a Bill Moseley bubble dome brain... pan on his head.
Why wouldn't you do anything interesting?
Do something to make the killer look interesting. What if he got burned, you know what I mean, in a fire, like, you know what I mean?
Anything.
We had a backstory where he looked like Cropsey, you know what I mean? So, because when he's stalking people, he just looks like somebody that's hanging khakis on a shelf at Kmart. Like, he does not look like a killer at all.
He looks like he's a dude from, like, Days of Our Lives.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
He looks like a lead from Days of Our Lives.
And he just has no screen presence at all.
And it's especially weird. Like, you could even if you had chosen a dude who looks weird, and I don't even mean weird, like,
but a unique faced actor.
Look kind of like just an interesting dude, like a big, interesting looking guy, like Shocker, where you get Mitch Pileggi. Yeah, you get him, and you're like, well, he's not an ugly dude; he's a handsome guy, but he's just got a distinctive face, and he's big.
Yep,
he's like a tall, built, like, kind of interesting looking guy where he has a memorable face. Perfect. Yeah. This guy has perfect handsome guy face, which makes him so unmemorable. He looks like a mannequin.
Yes.
Bad choice. Bad, but I mean,
especially if you're going to make it so the killer doesn't talk or do anything.
He does not. He doesn't say a goddamn word.
Thing. Like, make him look neat at least.
Yeah.
Or scary. Damn,
okay,
movie.
So here's an interesting thing. So we get this whole thing going on where he's like, well, yeah, but the Egyptians believed that when we sleep, our other self goes out and does things
like driving vans.
And it's just such bad dialogue. It's such stilted dialogue, and it's so crazy, but it's...
And where does it come from?
Well, the thing is that we find out later that he's right on the nose, that he just, like, pulled out of the ether the exact things that, like, we later get the really insulting one, like, important black character who's just, like, some random mystic woman that you're
There's
like...
two black characters.
Sure, you got Uncle Phil.
Just said we had Uncle Phil.
You got Uncle Phil, but... Like, you get the black character who's only there because she's, spiritual for whatever reason. It's an insulting stereotype, but it's and it's handled poorly. And she doesn't know anything. She's like, I went through all of these books, and they tell you nothing. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to think about it.
Sweet. I watched this entire scene and it told me nothing.
Yep.
Now I guess I'm got to think about it.
Well, We find out that Ruth is now driving the truck, and she drives through a herd of cows.
Yeah.
The
she
cows
almost hits a cow.
Yep. Yeah, like literally almost hit the cows in like not like filmically, like the person driving literally almost hit the cow. Yeah. Like there was bad driving. Waking up the homeless guy in the bed of the truck, and we find out earlier that she's not surprised that he lives there. That was the moment when she's like, he's got to live somewhere. She's like, hey, isn't that a guy in the truck? Yep. Okay. That's all we get.
Yep.
And so now she's got this truck. She's driving, and she goes and pulls up to one of those houses that is like rented for porn shoots.
Yeah.
It's like one of those like
it totally
bajillion-dollar places that
you
like
know
rents
there's
out
been a porn shoot there.
Yeah. There's no art on the walls. It's like everything is just pure white.
Yep.
It's like nothing but just like waterfalls, a piano, like some other crap, just things for people to boink on.
Whose house is this?
It's the unbelievably rich teenager who lives alone with no parents.
Who?
I assumed it was her.
We never meet this person that...
What? I don't know.
It can't be the other girl. Like, they say they're going to they mentioned, like, several times, like, we're going to the Roberts house or something for this party. Maybe. And the parents are like, who are the Roberts? Like, oh, they're really nice. I live five blocks down. Or it's just like...
Yeah, it's a real no prize situation. Nobody cares.
But, like, none of the people who are there give the feeling that that's their place.
Oh, no.
So again, whose house is this?
Maybe they just shoot porn there sometimes.
They spend the whole movie at a house, and we don't know
nothing.
How they got there, or whose it is, or
whose
anything.
house it is, or anything. And it's especially good because like there's these weird dolls there, and so you would think that somebody would know something about.
No, we just put a couple creepy dolls.
Yeah, they're just creepy dolls for movie sake.
Dolls.
So we get we're in this like 70s dystopian computer lab sci-fi house with white walls and big round entryway doors, which is pretty cool actually, and a depressing fake Annie DeFranco piano song plays, and she wanders around the house just looking at weird dolls and like flashing back to seeing weird dolls.
Yeah, okay, so that's obviously not her house.
Nope.
You don't just walk through your own house and reminisce in the middle of the day.
Weird.
Usually.
Again,
I mean, I guess I could start.
So the homeless guy wakes up in the back of the truck and he monologues about nothing, and it's just to remind us how creepy it is that this teenage girl is getting naked in a pool while a homeless man is in the back of her truck 10 feet away.
Yes.
Cool. So we're just going to assume that she is a multimillionaire high school student who lives alone, can't afford a car, and loves skinny dipping around homeless men.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll take it.
She does that thing. She, takes her pants off, takes her top off, of course, and swims around. Then
that's all that's happening here.
That's it.
It has been forever.
Yeah, it takes forever. She gets out, and oh my goodness, her clothes are missing.
Yeah, what?
That's crazy. So she's like, Norman, just hangs a lantern on how insane it is that you're getting naked in this pool while there's an insane homeless man who was probably also naked.
And this house is like very remote.
Yes. It's just like, I want to be out with this random person I don't know who lives in the back of this truck.
My friend's truck that I'm for some reason driving now.
Where you can fire off an AK-47 and no police will hear it.
Yes.
Like, that's how remote this house is.
That's another thing. We're all, they mentioned like later on, they're just like, yeah, with all the guns here, nobody can touch us. Like, why are there all these guns here?
That is...
Whose house is this? Why do you know there's guns here?
This movie was written by a complete fucking lunatic.
And then later on, when they also say that line, she's like, "We have all these guns here, nobody can touch us." Yeah, and you're a great shot. So Carol loves. So our lead character Carol, his hobbies include parabolic mics, peeping Tom snooping on everybody, having
firing
a hobo
guns.
living in the back of her pickup truck, and firing AK-47s all the time.
Wes Anderson, take note.
Yes.
Buddy, you're falling down on the job when it's like, oh, what are you into? I collect stamps. Yeah, fucking hold my beer. I got a movie for you.
And did I mention she can dance?
She's also part of a dance troupe.
Oh, the movie turns into a dance movie near the end.
Oh, boy.
Just because.
Just because. So she goes in to berate Norman for whatever sexual assault he's got planned that she assumes, and somebody stabs her. And the arc of the knife is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
It's pathetic.
It looks like somebody putting a knife into a table.
Yeah.
The arc is so wrong. She would have had to be laying on the floor to get stabbed with the way that
and they just do this choppy, repetitive editing thing where it's just the sloppiest edited death scene ever.
Could this movie have been made by 10-year-olds?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now
they're like, selling lemonade is peanuts. That's child's play. Let's produce a movie.
Exactly. Okay, so now, meanwhile, Carol is in her own completely white house with no decorations on the walls, and she's listening to the tape of a fucking murder with the most beatific smile on her face. She sees the van outside, and she's like, oh yeah, there's a guy trying to kill me. Interesting. And so she's like, she leaves the house and then breaks into the van that's across the street. Okay, there's nobody in it.
Yeah.
Because
that's why she asks her friend later on if that van's real or fantasy.
I mean, that is a very good question, and we don't ever have an answer to that because I guess we took out one of the tires and it's still fine later on.
Yep, it's fantasy van.
So maybe it's fantasy van.
She also took out dude's sidecar tire on the motorcycle, and it's fine.
Since things were way too normal up until this point,
he said, let's introduce
Bobby. Here comes Bobby, this fucking weirdo who looks like Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
and Bender,
and he shows up in a World War II. This is a fucking Wes Anderson movie.
It is a Wes Anderson movie.
He shows up in a World War II motorcycle with a sidecar. There is a mannequin that he's having clearly a sexual relationship with.
Dressed up like a grandma.
And he says, don't worry, babe, I'll save you. And he drives his motorcycle around where he could have walked over, but instead he drives it over, stabs the tire of the car, lets the air out of it, and then comes back over. Ha-ha! Now she doesn't need to be afraid anymore.
Now Bobby, along with driving this motorcycle with a dummy in the sidecar, also has a character trait that he drinks too much that he keeps talking about. Like, do you want to know why I drink too much? Do you know why I drink too much? Why do you drink so much, Bobby? We never see Bobby drink anything. He is not drunk through this whole movie.
Never drunk.
But he sure does like talking about the fact that he drinks too much.
Yep. So we find out that he drinks too much, which does never come.
It does nothing.
Does nothing. But one of his character traits that isn't discussed much is the fact that he's clearly stalking this woman that doesn't want anything to do with him, and it charms the pants off of her literally later on.
I think she does want something to do with him. I think she's playing hard to get.
Okay, but given what we know, I mean, I would say that you're using the fact that it works and she has sex with him later on to defend the fact that he says, if you won't let me go, I'm just going to keep following you until you do. Like, really creepy stuff. And she's like, I don't want you to go to the party. I don't want you around. Goodbye. I'm leaving. And just like constantly blows him off and tries not to talk to him.
But she goes there in the first place.
Wait, what? To the party?
No, to his driveway. Doesn't she?
She lives there. That's her place, right?
Her place.
No, wait, I don't know. I don't know. They're all hanging out.
Oh, I'm confusing it later on when Bobby's hanging out with Cowboy.
Yes, because she literally just went outside to look at the van that she saw.
Oh, that's right. And he drives up. Okay.
Maybe they live next door to each other. It
doesn't matter.
Back at the asylum, some guy is telling the cop. We have a guy doing one of those like
I'm a crazy guy scene.
I did like a year of improv, and this is my crazy guy character.
Watch me play with cigarettes and talk funny.
Yep. So he's like, okay, the guy in the coma calls himself the king of the forest, and he said that he needs to kill a baby to be king for another year. This guy's like lining up smoked cigarettes on the counter and doing weird stuff, and that's his character choice. Whatever, it's fine. He says, that guy's magic, and he has long arms.
Yeah.
Huh?
Which is funny because as crazy as all of this sounds, this is the actual exposition for our character.
Yeah. No, it's all for real. But don't worry. Next scene is super important because Carol pulls up in a new car that she's driving.
She has a black car now. She fuck the truck.
And she's like,
smelled like Norman anyway.
Oh, hello, neighbor that I've never met before. Are you wearing a small enough bikini? Why, yes, I am. Don't I look nice in my bikini?
I thought that was our friend's mom.
I don't. Does that? But
that's Cowboy's girlfriend's mom.
The character doesn't matter. She's just there to be in a bikini for a second. Where they're like, she literally just says, "Do you like it?"
Yeah,
and that's it. It's just like it's a friend of the director who was hot, and they're like, "Would you wear a bikini?" Or she's like, "I want to be in your movie," or whatever.
It's like we need mom pretending to water the lawn in a bikini. Like, I'm there.
Yeah, of course. The scene is important because bikini. Carol shows up at Ruth's place with her boombox, and Norman hasn't noticed anything out of the ordinary yet.
Who is Ruth? Was that the skinny dipper?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm just assuming it's Ruth's place because she was there first.
Okay, it's nobody's place.
It's nobody's place. At the place where Ruth was killed. How about that?
Okay, that works for me.
She shows up at the place where Norman is in the back of the car. A woman was screaming because she was being stabbed. Yeah. And he didn't hear it. Maybe he just assumed it was another voice.
And he pops out of the truck and says, "Let me park your car." Like, where? She just did.
No, that's hilarious comedy. He says it again. He says it 3 times, so you know it's a rule of threes bit.
Oh, okay.
You just don't get it because it's advanced comedy.
I need to go back to comedy class.
You do. You need to go to comedy class. So she goes into the house. Creepy doll. Slow walk through the house. Carol puts the doll away. Walks through the house. She finds some cheese. Eats some cheese on the couch.
It's very stunning. I take it back when I said earlier that this movie never gets boring. This part is.
She takes a post-cheese swim.
Yes.
She's like, "Ooh, just had some cheese. I should go for a swim." She comes back inside, and now Heather's on the couch with a baby.
And she goes, "Neat
Can
baby.
we keep him?"
No. Before that, she goes, "Oh, baby, is it yours?" As if like
you wouldn't know if your friend had a baby.
You rode in the truck with the baby earlier. Did you just not notice that your friend Heather was holding a baby in the truck when you gave her a ride home earlier?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, what?
That's true.
Did the writers, did the director forget that they shot this scene where she rode in the car with her?
Okay.
When she rode in the car that wasn't the car that she drove here in because her friend was driving that car.
If you want a lesson in just clear, clean expositional foreshadowing, you want to just really get this nailed down, like perfect. This next sentence that is uttered in this film is like, this is a masterclass. You want to explain what's going on with your movie? Can we keep him? He'll be safe with all the guns around, and you're a really good shot. Fuck. Oh, wow. All right, so now the naked cowboy from the spying thing is met up with the weird stalker guy, Danny, and Kowalski shows up. Kowalski puts a tracer in the crotch of the mannequin. It's funny because it's a crotch. And back at the expensive house, another hot girl shows up to the party. I can't remember who it is. And it's yet another teen who is unsurprised by the homeless man that lives in the back of Carol's car.
That's just Cowboy's girlfriend, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know her name.
Oh, yeah, it's Cowboy's girlfriend.
Sure, Cowboy's girlfriend. How about that? And she, like, literally, all of these people know that it is just a thing that this Oscar the Grouch style fucking homeless guy lives in her truck. Lives there.
All her friends know he's harmless, though. They said that earlier.
Years. I can only assume he's lived there for years.
You need to be more trusting.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly what running a business has taught me about the people that come into this place. I should trust all of them. Yeah. Okay, so this is where we get the dumb further muddling of the plot with the dead baby brother thing.
Yeah, because there's no purpose.
Kowalski throws a lit cigarette into his own crotch because
whoops!
it's a running gag. And he follows the motorcycle weirdo who's driving like a total psycho. He's just like weaving in and out of traffic in this thing. Like, actually looked very dangerous. Like, legitimately looked very dangerous.
What is he trying to do here? Because, like, Kowalski said, like, I want to go to that party. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you where it is. And he's like, I'm just going to wait here till you leave then, right?
Yes.
And then he's just like, fuck you. Is he trying to get to the party at this scene?
Yes, because he knows that the baby's going to be there.
And he's going to lose Kowalski.
Because that baby loves to fucking party.
Yeah.
He knows that. He knows that that baby never misses a teen girl party.
No.
But
that baby loves machine guns, too.
Yeah, also machine guns. But the thing is, Kowalski is shitty at his job because that's not how you follow someone. If you put a tracer in their car, you don't say, I'm just going to follow you, and then sit outside their house, and the second they leave, make a lot of noise and follow them directly. You don't do that.
Oh my
you go
Lord.
somewhere where they can't see you.
I didn't even think of that.
You
what
just
was
go,
the point of the
I'm
tracer?
not going to follow you.
Yeah. What the?
He doesn't need to be with it. You could wait until he gets to his destination.
Wow.
That's the...
I can't believe how stupid that is, and I can't believe how stupid I am for not thinking of that. Like,
so amazing.
Why is there a tracer if you're just going to sit and stalk out the house?
Sit there and take off and follow him at high speed. Go get yourself
another cup of coffee. You're going to need it to pour on the next lit cigarette you drop in your car. You
and
Goomba.
And also, Kowalski's a cop, and he can't arrest this guy that was swerving in and out of traffic. He's like clearly driving to endanger.
He never calls for backup or puts a siren on or anything. He's just like,
it's amazing.
This kid.
And the number one best part of this scene is the fact that there's a low-rent Casio keyboard version of Axel F playing in the background. It's just clearly a bad knockoff of Axel F.
I honestly love all the music in this.
It's not terrible.
The songs, the dance songs later on are fantastic.
Those are pretty good.
The scary music I think is cool. It sounds neat.
No,
the scary music sounds like they had like 15 different scary music motifs. And they're like, which one should we use? And the sound supervisor was like, yes.
Yes. Yep, use all of them. And that is what they did. Oh, boy. Okay, so here's that scene where, like, they couldn't figure out how to edit him getting cut off, but they wanted to do that classic thing where he shows up at the cross, where the train's going. The motorcycle crosses over, then the train comes, and Kowalski's sitting there going, ugh. Or that, like, a slow horse-drawn carriage with a bunch of hay in the back of it cuts him off, but they instead put the horse behind him for some reason. And they didn't do that one. They didn't do the one with him cutting it off. So he just backs into the horse cart. That fails. And then the wigwag falls down, cuts his hood in half, and his car explodes.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't explode. It just overheats, smoke pours out
of his engine.
It's just stupid. Because a tiny wooden gate landed near the...
He's driving one of those, like, it's like a Ford LTD. It's like one of those invincible piles of American steel.
And, like, the lightest piece of wood came down. The what do you call it? A wigwag? Is that
I don't know if that's the real... That's what a wigwag is.
Never heard it called that.
Wigwag, I think, is the X mark. I don't know if it's actually the gate that comes down.
Oh.
I can't remember. I might be using it wrong. I just love the word wigwag.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a fun word, so I'm just going to say that that's what it is. Okay. Oh, this is some clutch filmmaking here. Kowalski comes back into the asylum again. Okay, so you remember the two other times that he was at the asylum, and he said, there's a dream killer who's coming into the real world to kill people?
Yes.
Okay, so he comes back in, and he talks to the Fresh Prince's uncle, and he's like, there's a dream killer. It's this guy. He's coming into the real world, and he needs to kill a baby. And then we're like, oh, that's cool. And then some other guy comes into the room after they cut to some other scene where it's like the performance art babysitter is like looking at glowing bushes or something. Some shit happens there. And then another guy comes into the room and he's like, there's a dream killer and he's coming here and he needs to kill a baby. And both of these conversations take 4 minutes apiece.
Yes.
Okay. Hold tight for what the next thing is that happens. So we get the fucking body wheeling around in circles. Babysitter has bathtub flashbacks.
Again.
A duck falls on the rubber duck falls on the floor. She picks it up in the real world. This duck has been transported from her memories into the real world.
Yeah.
What could it mean? And then we get that fucking story again.
Again. Ah! Is this a scene where he shoots the knife at Kowalski? That's the fake knife?
No, that's later.
That's later. Oh, so we just keep coming back to the...
Yeah, I think he's probably going to tell that story again.
Oh, cool. Hey, there's a dream
notes.
killer. He's coming here. He needs to
He needs to kill a baby because he wants to become king of the forest for another year. Kowalski. That doesn't sound right.
What in the F?
He wants to be king of the forest for another year, so he's going to kill a baby.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it's the deal. I mean, if you want to be king of the forest, you got to kill a baby.
Everybody knows that.
Okay.
It was a really good episode of David the Gnome, too.
I don't know if it's spoiling anything here, but I think the most annoying part of her having the parabolic... Okay, you can't introduce something like this. You can't have something this fucking wacky. You know, like you can't have somebody have a quirk like this in a horror movie where she has a parabolic mic and not have it be a plot point at some point.
Oh, it has no payoff.
It never pays off. And the worst part is that right here, she grabs the parabolic mic while the guy's like, at the end of the movie, she has it and she's like, what is it? Doesn't hear anything with it, puts it away, and then we never see it again.
Like, why wouldn't you... anything? Like, why wouldn't you pick up the things like this guy was saying, but oh yeah, he doesn't say anything. Like, maybe like you could only hear what he's thinking through this or anything.
He
like,
could think at you through it. That would be amazing.
And that's the only way to read his thoughts because he doesn't speak with this mic. Like, anything to justify why the hell you have this thing.
Yep.
But no.
The baby speaks through it.
Yeah.
And the baby's like, no, stab him with the umbrella. Oh, we'll get there.
Pierce him with the bow.
Pierce him with the bow.
Go, go, go.
All right.
My pants.
I'm sorry to hear that, Matt.
Pierce him with the pole. I poop my pants. No, that's what the baby says.
Anyway, okay, so
kill him and change my diaper.
So anyway, we get her. The naked cowboy lady is here. Parabolic mic lady tells her that she had a dream about her.
God.
And now we get this scene that means nothing, and it stretches out for 5 full minutes of screen time where she's like, instead of... It's a pointless scene. It's a pointless scene where she could have told a sexy story about a sexy dream that she had about it. If you want to just do some pointless sexiness,
try to do this, like,
fine.
They try to do this like clever word...
But instead, she makes her guess what happened in her dream. So I had a dream that you were at a club.
Oh, was I dancing? No. Was I standing? No.
Were you sitting in a chair? Yes, you were sitting in a chair. Oh, was there a man? No. Was there a woman? No. Was there a dog? Yes. You were really romantically involved with the dog? Yes. Did you get married? Yes. He put on a funny hat? Yes. He was the master of ceremonies? Yes. Was he elected president? Uh-huh. Oh my God, I've had that dream before myself. When I was married to President Dog. Fuck. It's such an insanely long, boring fucking scene.
And again,
I hate it
no
so much.
Payoff.
No
or
payoff.
Point.
No point to it whatsoever. Okay, so this is the scene where she hears something without the parabolic mic. She has the parabolic mic. She's listening. Doesn't hear anything. Puts it down. Then she hears something. After she puts down the mic. And so she goes and grabs this gigantic fucking elephant gun that she's got. It's like maybe she's very small and it's just a regular AK-47. It looks like it was built for this movie. It is a weird looking gun.
Is this her house?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. She knows where the guns are, how to get them, and she's a person who fires guns.
Whose house was she when she came out for the...
Dude.
Oh, who cares? Why am I even asking?
Why was she hanging out in someone else's... I mean... Yeah, none of this matters. None of it matters. She broke into the house.
I think this is her house. Wait, no, it's not, because she walked through earlier and she like picked up the dolls and looked at things. Like...
No, that was the other girl. That was Ruth.
No, Carol did the same thing, didn't she?
Maybe it's because she was excited
did the same
about the
thing.
cheese.
She ate the cheese and she went swimming. Like
maybe it's like a TikTok house full of influencers, and like they all live there together.
This is a movie from the future.
It's a movie about the future. About the worst possible future.
It's a movie that came from the future in 1985.
Oh, this is amazing.
It's deep shit, boy.
So, yeah, Cowboy's girlfriend takes her top off again. That's cool. So
it's like we got one set of boobs. Let's use them as much as we can.
So, she's relieved to find out that the person that she heard in the house was just Bobby, her stalker. So he says, hey, there's a cop asking about a stolen baby. He says, don't worry, you can keep the baby for a few days, no problem. Yeah. He's not going to find us.
I mean, I just committed like probably 8,000 moving violations and felonies, and he knows where I live, so
and also
I should be good.
Yeah, I should hang out with the woman who just committed a kidnapping. You know, you probably should bring that baby to the authorities, or at least feed it. Maybe feed it. How about feed it? Anyway,
stupid.
But yeah, it's great. Anyway, Kowalski talks to the body of the killer about his dreams. He decides that the killer wants to hear stories about his dreams.
Oh, this is the life scene.
He's
which
like,
I do like.
You know, I had a dream last night about a bird and a clock, and it got stabbed by the hands of the clock, and who fucking cares? And then he gets stabbed by an imaginary dream knife. It vanishes, and he's okay. He's
like that.
Nice trick.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It was kind of cool.
It's unique.
So this is, we get a cut that is totally out of place of Norman walking towards the house at an earlier time when the sun was still out, while the rest of the house has been bathed in darkness for at least an hour.
Oh, is this where he's asking his purpose, or is that forever?
That's later.
Oh, it's late.
That's later when he starts talking to the house, because he gets killed right after that.
Oh,
but this is just like they just put an intercut to remind you Norman exists.
Norman's out there.
He exists.
Yeah, he's gonna save the. No, he's not gonna do anything.
No, he's going to shining this thing, and so okay.
He's gonna get killed and then not even get to be part of the corpse party.
Nope. Oh, that's right. He wasn't even worthy of the corpse party.
Nope.
So they analyze Danny or Banny or whatever the fuck his name is, Bobby's drinking problem, and
again,
doesn't matter.
Without a beer in his hand. And
then they also analyze Mike Lady's weird obsession with recording things with her spy gear. Whatever.
Nothing.
We are headed into the third act, so it's time to introduce a Caribbean woman who knows stuff about spiritualism.
Where does she come from?
He just appears in her office, and he's like...
It's like, oh, I guess I'm here now. We don't even see an outside shot of, like, Madame Ophelia's, like, curiosity shop or something. Nope, we're just in a room with books.
This movie does not fuck around. This movie does not truck with establishing shots.
No, it does not.
Does not care about establishing
We don't
shit.
see... Oh, you're right, man. We don't even see any of the establishing shots of the house they're at. Like, we see it close-ups, but...
The closest we get for an establishing shot is in the parking lot of that house.
Yeah, that's it.
Looking at the side of it, and we don't even see
That's what I mean. We never see the whole house,
No, God, no. So, she's going to tell Kowalski something he's not going to like, is what she says. You see all these books? You won't find it in here. Some things cannot be written. And then guess what she's going to say?
I forgot what she said.
Literally the same thing that Kowalski said.
There's a dream killer.
There's a dream killer. He wants to be king of the forest. And he needs to kill a baby. He wants to be king of the forest. He's got to kill a baby. He wants to be king of the forest. He's got to kill a baby. This movie's making me crazy. Yet again, and I'm not even watching it this time.
Whee!
Okay. Sorry, I wrote down what she said, and it's so funny. She says she's like prepping us for how fucking crazy what she's about to say is.
Yeah.
And it's been said 25 times before. She says, "How can I say this? You know how we move in the real world? He moves like that in dreams."
We get it. There's a dream killer.
Beat you over the head with this. Okay, there's a powerful energy at force at work. It will have its way. So she's like, "Don't go do anything. There's nothing that can stop it." And we all just hope Danny dies first. And anyway, so Danny shows up and he produces some sweet electronic jams. And like you said, I still think he looks just like Casey Jones, but obviously this was too early for him to be based on Casey Jones from the movie. So instead, he breakfast clubs the fuck out of this.
Yeah.
Turns on the jams. They start doing wacky dances.
I love this. I think it's very cute. It's completely out of place in when you want to watch a horror movie.
Out of place.
But like, as far as like a, and then it gets ruined near the end. But like, as far as like a fun couples dance party in like an '80s movie, it's fun.
Right.
And then when it starts turning into the strip thing near the end, it gets a little weird. Like, because both people seem weird about it. And then he touches her breast like in the most awkward, like stupid shot. Like, do you think he was told to do that by the director? Like, and then reach out and
opening gambit before kissing her before anything else, he puts his hand out and goes boob.
Yep. And it just looks so wonky, and it just kills all the momentum that the scene built up in one. And she doesn't call him on it. It's not like what the fuck are you doing? It's not like it stops it like that. But as a viewer, you're just like, wait, what?
She's like, this is what I'm into. It's that Wes Anderson shit of like, we're so fucking crazy.
It's so quirky.
It's so quirky.
I feel that this movie is weirder than it was intended to be. I feel like this is like an accidental weirdness. I feel like they made this movie.
There's no way they could have meant this.
And then at their end, they're like, holy shit, what did we do?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They could not possibly. I can't. I seriously cannot understand what they must have been thinking in writing this film. Like, because how can you think that this is not going to come off batshit?
Yeah. Well, we keep talking about the Wes Anderson thing, like I said, but like Wes Anderson's like, I'm gonna make this weird.
Sure.
I think these people were just like, all right, I wrote a horror movie. Man, this looks like a fucking Wes Anderson movie. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even though, again, since it's from the future, they know what a Wes Anderson movie is at this point. Because, again, this is a TikTok house from the future that's showing up in the 80s. And the worst part of this is, like, again, with the editing of this movie being just horrendous. Instead of them showing the footsteps of the killer showing up after they've had sex, after this whole montage, the footsteps start while they're doing their thing. Like while they're doing their wacky stuff, then they start making out more footsteps.
Yeah.
He is outside the house. Is he circling? He could have circled the house 30 times by now.
They do dance for quite a bit of time.
What is he waiting for? He's already there.
Is he there? We don't know. We don't get any establishing shot. We just keep seeing feet. He could be in fucking Toledo for all we know.
We see feet.
Not that way. That would be farther or closer to this house because we don't know where we are anywhere either.
Right. Sure.
But Toledo is far away.
Yes.
From everything.
Yes, according to Looney Tunes cartoons.
Yeah.
So outside, we get Norman, who is like being built up to be our Deus Ex Machina here.
He's gonna save the day.
Yeah, we get a real Scatman Carruthers, like he's going to be the guy that's going to come and fix everything. And he wakes up and he's getting a literal message from God. God is speaking to Norman.
He's making a statue glow.
And he's like, hey, this over here, which we find out later, God was actually pointing to the thing that can kill this monster.
Oh, is that what that was doing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was the pointy thing, right? I think.
I didn't remember seeing the pointy thing in that scene at all, and even if it was,
I couldn't tell what any of the shapes were.
Nobody else was seeing the light, so like
no.
Detective What's-His-Nuts wouldn't know that that's what God was telling him to do.
No, but I mean, so Norman is supposed to save everybody, and Norman is getting all of these, like, these messages, and it's like, God, you chose very poorly, because Norman is like, okay, I'll do it, God. And the second he agrees to go on this mission, he's beheaded.
Yeah,
he's just instantly beheaded. Wasted all of that time. He's barely on his, like, this is why you never get out of the goddamn motherfucking truck. In the words of Apocalypse Now. Never get out. Never get off the goddamn boat. He's literally on his feet for the first time for a minute when he gets beheaded. Should have stayed in the truck. So anyway, baby starts crying because, you know, it hasn't eaten or been changed in 48 hours. Fucking whiner. And Kowalski gets stopped by a dog in front of his car. The dog is an avatar of Satan, I guess?
This whole section is insane. As opposed to all the other things.
As opposed to all the 50 other insane sections. Okay, so
he stops for the dog, right?
He stops.
Then he gets out?
Because he's behaving as though he thinks this dog has a message for him.
Yes.
Like, it's not like, oh my God, I can't go around the dog. He's on a dirt road. He could clearly avoid this dog.
I gotta get out and talk to this dog.
He's like, what does this dog has a message for me?
And so he gets out of his car and then, of course,
leaves his car in neutral.
And throws his cigarette buddy in the car, of course.
The cigarette butt sets fire to his car.
Yes.
His car starts rolling backwards. It takes the exact track of the trail, which actually is kind of a winding path.
Yes.
It manages to go all the way back down and then explodes.
As he just watches the whole thing unfold with the most defeated face, like,
this is the fourth car this week.
Right? I gotta stop throwing my lit buddies in the cars.
What is his problem?
Love it.
Okay, so yeah.
I mean, and to give the movie props, they finally gave us a payoff for something somebody does.
Sure.
He keeps throwing lit cigarettes in the car. It makes his car explode.
Yeah.
That's like the only payoff for anything in this whole thing.
But again, you have to have something that makes sense. This did not make sense. But okay,
no, but
fine.
you got to admit that it was still...
I do admit that it puts a button on the concept.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, it's a fucking stupid button, but it's still...
Well, don't worry. Things are going to start making sense now.
Oh, awesome.
So we cut directly back to the house, and everybody's like, hey, what's that outside? Cut outside. There is a full fucking Pat Benatar music video going on outside.
The song
with
rules, too.
20 dancers, all in
costumes and makeup.
Costumes, new wave makeup. They've appeared from out of nowhere.
Nobody,
we know that
nobody
there
knows
are
where
no other
from.
cars.
No.
Nobody knows who they came with, why they're here.
But let's dance.
Do the other people who are there already know the dance that they're doing and dance along with them? Why, yes, in fact, they do. Everybody who lives at this house knows this dance.
Who lives at this house?
Okay, so they're doing like the dancing. If I had to describe it, imagine 20 people asynchronously dancing like David Bowie and Mick Jagger in the Dancing in the Streets video.
With a little dash of Thriller.
With a little bit of Thriller, except Thriller was a lot more choreographed.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where, like, you're told in filmic language that this is choreographed, but they do the thing that they do in, like, they did in, like, Death Spa and some of those other things where they're like, oh, nobody knows their choreography, so we're just going to shoot people up close.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, look at how much these people are dancing together. So they just shoot different dancers. Nobody ever... When they stop moving and they, like, vogue, then they shoot the crowd.
Yeah.
And then when they start moving again, it's all individuals. Yeah. So
that is sneaky.
The killer watches this from the bushes and just have a moment of pity for this fucking killer at this moment where he's like, okay, put yourself in this poor bastard's position. You just want to murder a baby so that you can become king of the forest again.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like an average Tuesday for me.
Totally typical thing. And you show up at this house in your astral body. giant dance crew is outside. This dude has to be imagining that somebody back at the insane asylum has injected him with something and it's gone into his bloodstream.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, oh fuck, are they killing me with LSD or something back at the hospital? I would be absolutely positive. I'd be like, oh fuck, I gotta go back.
I gotta throw some more fake knives at people.
The cowboy shows up at this moment and he starts dancing with the dance troupe. He knows all the moves.
That's what makes me wonder if this is real and if Cowboy is really real. Like, because he doesn't really do anything else after this dance, right? And they were asking where he was.
He dies.
He does? He does get killed?
He does get killed, yeah.
Is that what happened? Is that who Heather beheads? Or does she just whack a fence with a sword?
She hits a shrub.
Is that what happens?
For no reason.
I kept rewinding that and
but
being like,
she's
am I missing something?
She knows that that's where the baby has to go. Like, she's sensing something about it. And
then after she does that, does she just go back inside and wait till the end of the movie to come
Yep,
back out again?
She just waits till the end of the movie to come back out. She leaves the baby alone and hides in the basement or something.
Okay.
That's it.
Makes sense.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, Cowboy shows up, dances with the dance troupe, but it's just foreplay for his meeting with his lady, who is simultaneously wrapped in a sheet in the doorway watching the dancers and also hanging out in the jacuzzi, because we cut back and forth.
That's
and
right.
She is in two different places at once. Heather is hypnotized, and she grabs a stick and hits a bush.
Oh, I thought it was a sword. It's a stick?
I don't know. Maybe it's a sword.
I thought she had a big-ass broadsword, because I was wondering, where'd you get that big-ass broadsword?
I couldn't tell. It was too blurry. But she hits that bush, and all the dancers freeze.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What happened? Okay, dancers freeze.
That's why I wonder if they're real dancers or not. There's an air of supernatural. Like you said, there's no cars.
No.
They just appeared. Nobody knows who they are. They've got to be... There's got to be some deeper meaning to these dancers.
I refuse. I refuse to play this game with this movie. This movie is too incompetent to play the what did they mean game.
Yeah.
They just put sentences on a page and just shot it. There is nothing deeper than that. Or there were 5 people playing an Exquisite Corpse game and nobody had read, 5 different people wrote the movie in different sequences and just kept going and didn't know what the previous 4 had written. That's the only other way to explain this. But whatever. Okay, 3 corpses in the jacuzzi.
That's our corpse party.
Yeah, we
for
get
5 seconds.
Cowboy's hat floats by. She screams because she sees his corpse because he was killed instantly outside while she was watching the dancers. But
are all of these dancers dead people?
Oh, dude, don't even. Yes, no,
yes,
maybe.
Yeah, sure, kid. You happy with that?
Whatever makes you happy, man. Whatever lets you sleep through the night.
I don't think that was really Cowboy dancing. I think that was a ghost.
Okay, sure. That maybe he was dead and
yes.
That was his ghost because we find out that he had been killed earlier. Sure. You know what?
I don't care. That's his ghost. You can have it.
It's possible. But so
he doesn't strike me as a dancer.
He does not. I mean, he looks like a dancer. He's got a dancer body.
Yeah, but his character.
Sure. Yeah, pink cowboy hat doesn't scream dude who dances. He looks like a fucking Chippendale. What are you talking about, man? Okay, so 3 corpses in a jacuzzi. Each one seeking happiness. 3 corpses in a jacuzzi. Which one will the jacuzzi bless? That's 3 coins in a fountain, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Carol has her
planes, trains, and automobiles.
Carol has her AK-47, and she is wandering around outside. She shoots the shit out of an empty van.
Oh wait, he already came in. Oh wait, did he come through the window yet or no?
No, not yet.
Jeez Louise.
Oh my God,
that's my favorite part of this movie.
So she shoots the shit out of it, and we see Kowalski wandering the wastelands, far enough away that he can't hear these gunshots.
Yeah, where is he?
I don't know. He's literally he's in the desert.
And then he eventually gets picked up by what's his nuts in the motorcycle.
Yes.
Why did that guy?
He left to get help, is what he says, and literally leaves the baby alone. He's there to protect the baby, and he's like, "I'm gonna go get help. Bye, baby. You take care of yourself."
He had a sidecar he could put the baby in.
The mannequin goes in the sidecar, you asshole.
Kowalski and the mannequin go in the sidecar. The baby could fit too.
Yep. So, all right. This movie now has the balls to have Carol show up and say these words. After we've heard this 100 times, she has the fucking balls to utter this line. I think this man wants to kill this baby. I swear to God, I will slap the shit out of you. How dare you say that? If only the movie had brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
Then I would have known that this guy is trying to kill the baby.
Dude, the movie's just trying to help you out.
Thank you.
Just wants to make sure you know what's going down.
Thank you so much. So Heather is gone.
It's a considerate movie.
She has wandered off. She's left the baby alone.
She's just invisible now.
Danny's left to watch the baby. Unsurprisingly, that's too much to ask of Danny because he's a fucking nitwit. He's like...
Bobby,
Danny, Dildo, whatever his name is. Carol shows up and she sees the corpse guy, the fake guy, the spirit walking, whatever his name is.
Yep.
That dude. She somehow sets him on fire. She sets his astral body or soul or whatever.
We're skipping the window part, though, aren't we? Yeah. Because this is all outside.
Okay.
It's my favorite when the killer throws himself through a window and Carol sees it and she's like, oh crap, and then she just goes outside,
and then we
see him slowly walk outside. Like,
it's the edit that kills me. It's because it's that same kind of edit like the fucking van. I was saying earlier, it's like my favorite example is Shaft in Africa, where he's like, we've got to go off to Africa, and then you watch the plane take off and it cuts and you're like, okay, and then it comes back to him and he's like, all right, let's get on the plane. It's like, that's how it feels. It's that kind of editing where she's like he smashes in the window and she's like, oh no, he's here. Cut to outside. She's leaving the building.
Yeah, exactly what happened.
What happened?
Like, it's not like she can't leave. So, like, the minute he does this dramatic throw himself through the window, she's like, oh crap, he's in here. Well, I'm outside now. Boop.
Yeah. Amazing. So, whatever. She calls to Bobby, but he's split. She has her gun, so at least she can shoot at this guy's soul. So she does. She shoots.
Bullets do nothing against the king of the forest.
He's the king of the forest. Come on. You need to pierce him. Bullets don't pierce people.
Only piercing poles can pierce
whatever.
Forest people.
Yeah, you can't kill anything in the forest with a gun.
No.
Tell that to every extinct species on Earth that mankind has managed to wipe the fuck off the face of the planet. Okay.
Go us.
Go humanity. All right.
She tries shooting him. That doesn't do anything. She tries burning him.
Oh, she doesn't have the gun anymore. She loses the gun and then picks up the parabolic mic again. It doesn't do anything with it.
No.
She just has it in her hands. Oh, that was frustrating.
Meanwhile, Bobby finds Kowalski out there on the road, and that's all the help he needs, so he picks up Kowalski and drives back to the house.
Yep.
This will be good.
This will be really important. So now Carol trades the baby with a baby doll in a blanket and leaves the baby inside the house, which, of course, the magic fucking king of the forest isn't going to figure this shit out.
Nope.
She's wandering around kind of like Ellen Ripley. She's got a baby on one shoulder and a big gun in the other hand. And the second that we're like, all right, look at this crazy ruse that she's got, he walks out of the building with the baby.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this? Yeah, this is the thing I'm going to sacrifice. It's like, okay, fine. Fuck.
Okay.
Great. So she says, put the baby down, which doesn't work, as it turns out. And he brings the baby over to the glowing blue tree. She shoots him, even though he's carrying a baby, but she's a very good shot.
She is a good shot. Where the hell did this tree come from?
This is the glowing tree that the lady hit with a stick because she didn't like it because it's evil, and this is the king of the forest tree that you need to sacrifice a baby to. Everybody knows that. He's about to pokerate this lady with a knife because he's annoyed at being shot. So there is at least that. He puts the baby down, and Kowalski shows up And by shows up, I mean Kowalski is shot in a void, like where he wasn't on set at the same time as she was.
Obviously not.
And he literally, again, speaking of balls, we get a fucking Star Wars
He's Obi-Wan.
parody. He literally Obi-Wan's here, and he says, "Use the pole, Carol. Pierce him."
Because during the dance sequence, they kept showing this spiky pole that they were dancing around, and I guess that's the secret to kill astral projection is spiky poles?
I guess those were the souls of people telling them what they needed to do.
You figured it out.
I don't know, man. Don't accuse me of being on the same fucking wavelength as this movie.
You dug so deep into Appointment with Fear and solved the mystery.
Yes, the greatest movie of all time.
Those were the prior soul victims' souls that were dancing around the pole, and the pole's imbibed with soul power.
Soul power. Yep, they gave their souls. They imbued it with their power with the dance.
That's what happened. Yep.
They were there to dance the power into that pole.
That's what charges the pole. Without that dance, they would have had nothing.
Exactly. So Carol does take that pole, and she does pierce him, and he fucking explodes
into yard clippings.
He turned out to be a bag full of his soul was a bag full of yard trimmings. Just dry leaves explode everywhere, and everyone's
what
like,
the F?
"Okay, there you go.
Well, it's our killer. He's killed."
Yeah.
And then Heather comes out and she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm still in this movie, I guess."
Oh yeah, now I'll take care of the baby again. She picks it up and she says, "Isn't he beautiful?" And the eyes glow green, and he's now the king of the forest.
Cut to credits.
Dun dun dun. I guess it didn't work, or it worked too well, or the baby was the real king of the forest, or who fucking cares?
You fucking know. Why is the baby's eyes glowing at the end?
Why not? Because that's a way to end a movie. Either if you have a shitty movie and you don't know how to end it, either the person who you thought was dead opens their eyes, or somebody gets glowing red eyes for no reason.
Yep.
And then Vincent Price laughs. Perfect. End your movie there. There it is. Wow. That is an Appointment with Fear.
That's the Appointment with Fear. Hey, we did it, man.
Whew. Hour and a half.
We got through the appointment.
That was an hour and a half long movie. It took me an hour and a half to talk about it. So, wow. That was a lot of fucking notes I took on that stupid piece of shit.
I bought this tape in a fire sale probably a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. And it's just been sitting on my shelf ever until I put it in a couple of months ago. And I was like, whoa, I was not expecting this.
Everyone needs to see this
I was
movie.
not expecting how weird this movie could be. And as I said, like, it doesn't get boring. It gets stupid. Even the scenes with the girls walking around the house looking at things, like, it doesn't feel like it drags ever.
It is, yeah.
But it's so broken, but it is super enjoyable. I find it endlessly enjoyable to watch.
It is, I mean, again, it is one of the weirdest, one of the most herky-jerky. I've never seen anything like it. I've literally never seen anything like it. This feels like when I watched The Room for the first time. This feels like when I saw Troll 2 for the first time. This feels like any of those classic, like, Plan 9, where you're just like, this is honestly, earnestly bad. As opposed to, like, you get a bunch of movies where people are like, we're making a bad movie. This sounds like something that you'd see in a bad B movie.
Yep.
Or something like that. This is somebody trying to make their vision, and they are just incompetent. And it's awesome.
Or insane.
Or I would absolutely not rule out someone being totally off their rocker making this movie.
Yep.
You could easily be somebody who devolved into took all of the money that you were given to buy film stock and spent it on heroin. Like, if that was the case,
and then you were like, I can totally direct under the influence. Then you do all this shit. Then when you sober up, you start cutting your movie together.
No.
You're like, what the hell did I do? Exactly.
I know what's going to make this better. 400 tons of cocaine. And it's just, it definitely does have that feeling, like that kind of the way that like people who do a ton of coke, like in all seriousness, it does have that feeling. Like, and also like shit like Ritalin or any of those kind of stimulant drugs, where you're like, I've got this great plan, and then you're like, I know I can invent this thing, and then you put down a plan and you write down this whole thing, and you're like, next day you look at it and you go, I think I might have a problem.
That'll never work.
That's not good. That's not how planes work.
Yeah.
Why did I think I could build a plane? And
why the hell did I write a character that lives in the back of her pickup truck?
Why did I think I could direct a movie?
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It feels like somebody who's like, I've seen someone direct a movie. I think I could do it. It would be like if I tried to make a full-length movie and got a budget.
If anybody wants to fund that for us.
Absolutely. I could make a movie this bad.
Yeah.
I absolutely could. I could honestly fuck up this bad.
Is that your sales pitch?
My
Somebody
pitch
give us a lot of money because we could totally make a movie this shitty.
Absolutely. I could make The Room by accident.
Yep.
I absolutely could. I would spend $6 million on green screens just because I had $6 million to spend. So give me that money and I will make the worst movie you've ever seen.
It's like I always say, man, anybody can make a good movie. It takes special talent to make a bad movie that's good.
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Like movies like Commando. They don't come around very often.
No.
Like that's a tough thing to make.
Yep.
And this is a special thing because this is different because like some of those sorts of bad movies that are good, like the average bad horror movie that you can watch over and over again, a Friday the 13th, that's just like not a good movie, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Sure. Those are made by competent people who are under time crunches and like massive budgetary constraints. And, you know, they're not trying to do their vision. They're journeymen. They're like people who work for a living making movies. And they don't think they're making art, but they're trying to do the best they can with what they've got. And if they'd been given more, they could have done more. This is something where someone did not know what they were doing, especially in the writing department. And like,
but you know what, man? Bless their heart.
Absolutely.
For effort.
An A for effort.
And you gave us this.
And seriously, even when this is like your worst case scenario, and I feel like I want to reiterate this for all the other movies that we've like said mean things about. It's like, it's amazing. It's amazing that you did it.
Yeah.
It's amazing that anyone, the ability,
you did more than us. We're just talking about the
to
damn
finish a movie is mind blowing. The fact that someone can piece together a full feature length film still blows my mind. Anyone, no matter what it turns out like, it still blows my mind because it is so hard.
Yep.
Having done this kind of work in the past, it's like, I can't do it. I know I can't. Like, I've tried.
Well, not with that attitude.
I mean, I've tried to do this work and it just bores me to death.
Yeah, I do not like
editing. Makes me want to pull my eyes out of my head.
See, I actually like editing. I don't like being on the set itself.
See, I like that. You know what?
What the hell, dude?
Wait, maybe we're the perfect team to make a film. Luckily, we just wrote one today.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's do this.
Okie dokes.
Don't worry. We've written the best movie of all time. So
in our head meets.
Yeah. We haven't actually written it, but
we came up with the idea today.
We pitched a concept that is pure gold.
To ourselves.
So we're not going to tell you because Jim Wynorski is going to steal it if he listens to the podcast. Jim, if you're listening, you can't have it.
These are our boobs.
Although, if you want to direct it, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. So that's it. This is the podcast where we have exposed the greatest bad movie. I seriously think
tell your friends about this movie. Try and get the word about, because I want that Fufu Blu-ray. And if this movie gets talked about, it's got to be more in the conscious of the people that are in charge of putting out those Fufu Blu-rays.
I agree. I know at least one of the people who puts out these Fufu Blu-rays, and I'm going to send them an email about this today because I'm really like,
you should schedule an appointment with him.
Oh.
You see what I did there?
I can't because I have too much fear.
Oh.
Yes. See?
I see what you did there.
All buttoned up. Oh, my God. Anyway, That's it. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm leaving.
You've been up since 5 a.m. anyway.
And we have a big move tomorrow.
We do have a big move tomorrow.
Got to move all sorts of stuff for Coast City Comics. We're not moving the store, don't worry. Store's staying where it is. We just have to move our web store, and all of our back stock and all this shit needs to go to a new space. And it's going to take a lot of time. And so we're doing that tomorrow morning. Yeah. That's going to be up bright and early with me.
I've got muscle.
Thank God. I've got elderly energy. I've got experience.
Eldergy.
Exactly. I'm gonna take my Centrum Silver and
drink your Ensure.
Drink my Ensure. I'm gonna put on an extra adult diaper and we'll be ready to go. But anyway, on that front, please go to coastcitycomics.com. Please buy stuff from us. It helps us make these stupid podcasts.
The website's not moving anywhere.
Yes, exactly. If you listen to this thing, I certainly appreciate it. If you make it this far, you clearly care about something we're doing.
What are you still doing here?
What are you still doing here? Get over.
Go out and make a movie.
Yeah, seriously.
Fucking Appointment with Fear Boys did it.
NPR is on. There's a really good Fresh Air with LL Cool J and Reverend Ron this
gross.
week. Very gross. Oh God, Mad Magazine over here.
Do you think people called her that in school growing up?
Absolutely.
Poor Terry Gross.
Poor Terry Gross. She's
her.
the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, but do listen to the LL Cool J Reverend Run Fresh Air this week. It's great. And what else? Yeah, just follow us at Funbox Monster Podcast and at Coast City Comics.
I am Matt Awkward VHS Fiend, and check out the Video Vagrants group on Facebook and hang out with us on Friday nights on the Video Vagrants YouTube channel. Every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have a movie watch party there.
Yes, and
this week we're watching The Granny this Friday at 9 p.m. on the Video Vagrants YouTube channel.
And also Coast City Comics Main on YouTube. Nobody watches these videos. Everybody
if you guys didn't know that, we're on YouTube and
1,000 to 1 listeners on.
You can see our faces.
Like 15 people who are getting it through the YouTube. So I mean, maybe you don't want to see our faces. I don't blame you.
I don't blame you either.
It's only since watching these videos have I noticed that I've got thinning hair, so that's fun. But thanks,
aren't you glad
video.
Aren't you glad you bought these cameras?
Yeah, so delightful. I'm so glad to see that. Getting old is awesome.
It rules.
Anyway,
shit, I gotta go back to work.
Yeah, you do. Go get him, Mr. Boss.
Yeah.
All right. There. Perfect. All right. Good night, everybody. We will see you next week.
Yeah.
Good night.
Faces.